Hello. I wanted to do a comparison video of a couple of popular automatic watches. We got a Hamilton Jazzmaster along with a Seiko known as the Cocktail Time. So this officially is the Hamilton Jazzmaster Viewmatic model H32515555. Officially it's a silver color, looks a little white. Here we have the Seiko Cocktail Time, which is just a nickname, model number SARB065. So why do a comparison of these two watches? They're about more or less the same price range. Right now, street price for these is in the $400 range, US, you know, $400 to $450, I would say, is probably a good price of these. They're very popular. Obviously, they have quite a bit of a following. Hamilton has a a great heritage. So does Seiko. The Cocktail Time has a huge following. The Jazzmaster has a huge following. Hamilton is Swiss, Seiko Japanese. They both have their own movements, or rather, this is ETA, but we'll get to that. Very good watches, and you may be deciding which one to get, and I wanted to have a look and do a comparison. So let's first do an unboxing. Let's start with the Hamilton. Okay, so we have a nice Hamilton box here, very nice. Okay, we have, get to that, here we have manual. Wow, that was in there tight. What do we have here? This is a standard manual for Hamilton. Even mentions quartz chronographs. Obviously this is a standard manual. I'm not a big fan of standard manuals. I wish it was specifically for the watch, but that's what happens in the industry. I think that even more expensive watches tend to do that, so it's not not unusual. So if we put that away, get to the watch itself. Okay, very nice sort of box, nice and soft here on the inside. Here we have the watch, so nothing else in there. Put that aside. And we have our watch. All right, let's have a look at the Seiko. Sort of unusual box, I would say. I mean, I think the higher end watches tend to be in your square box. This is in this sort of longer rectangular box. So let's see. Looks like we have manual in here. It is for mechanical M5. That's Japanese and English too. Yeah, also a standard manual, but at least it covers automatics, so it's not for a mechanical watch. So it's not like a complete general manual. Got guarantee paper. Okay, and we have our actual box in here. Let's put this aside. And there it is. Take a peek, nothing in there. Good, we'll put that aside. Interesting. Did they get the strap on backwards? If you notice, this is definitely the top of the watch. Well, your clasp is usually on the side. We'll look at that in a minute, but I would say they put it on incorrectly, which is interesting. All right, so maybe we'll zoom in a bit, and we'll take a closer look and discuss more about these two watches. I switched the perspective. We had the Hamilton on the left, so I did that again just to maintain how we had the boxes. So let's talk about our movements. The Hamilton has the Swiss-made ETA movement. It is, of course, the 2824-2. Hamilton did not modify it on this one, other than putting on a Hamilton name. We have a window there in a minute, so I'll show you a look when we do a closer look. It is a 4 Hertz movement, meaning that our beats per minute is 28,800. That's really great. You have a very smooth movement of the second hand, and it's great to have such a high movement, and that's what most people look for. I do too. I prefer a faster movement. It is 25 joules. Again, Swiss made, so you're buying Swiss quality. The Swiss are really known for their watches, and so really good things. This ETA 2824-2 is a workhorse. It's in a lot of Swiss watches, and I think you can't go wrong with it. The Seiko, they have their own movement. This is a Seiko 6R15. It is a 3 Hertz movement, so our frequency is 21,600 beats per minute. It is 23 joules. It has a 50-hour power reserve. The Hamilton has a 40. So again, a Japanese movement with a 50-hour power reserve, and Swiss with the 40. I think, movement-wise, if you're gonna pick which of these is better, I think most people will take a higher frequency over a higher power reserve. There's maybe some of you out there that would prefer the power reserve, but for the most part, I think most people prefer the smooth ticking of the 4 Hertz. So I would have to give the movement to Hamilton and ETA on this one. They both have a 2-year warranty. They're both 50 meter water resistant, which means you can get them wet, but not really recommended for swimming. Don't doubt you would really be swimming with these anyway. I mean, these are dress watches with nice leather straps, so I don't think that I don't think you'd be doing too much swimming anyway. But again, if you fall in the water or wash your hands and get them wet, these should be fine. They're not dive watchers. They're not meant for swimming by any means. All right, so let's do some measurements. Start with the Hamilton. It is, of course, officially a 40 millimeter watch. And we have a crown guard here, so depending on where we take the measurement, we may get a bit of a high reading. I'm getting 42 there. Let's find a good spot that does not have. Here we go. There's I'm getting 40 right there, just slightly under. Obviously, that's some difference in the measuring tool. Great. Let's have a look at our thickness. We got just over 11. I've seen this as 8 in some places. It is definitely not an 8. If you see that, that is a mistake. I have just over 11. If I give it a squeeze, right? So it's going to be 11 millimeter on the thickness. Definitely not an 8. If you see that somewhere, that's a mistake. Our strap. got our just under 20, so we got 20 on our strap. Lug to lug, always the most difficult measurement to take, holding it in your hand. We got just under 50, so you can call it 50 millimeter. The strap being backwards just really hurts my eyes. That's really difficult. Okay, so again, this is also officially a 40 millimeter. No crown guard, so it will be a little easier to take the measurement. And there's our 40 right off the bat. Looking at it, it does appear to be thicker. And we got 13 on the thickness, just over 13. Yeah, just under 20. Also a 20 millimeter strap. And lug to lug. Getting about just over 47, so obviously it is a little bit skinnier on the case. Doesn't have sort of those big arms, 47 compared to 49 and 50, so slightly smaller. It is thicker, and it is noticeably thicker. The Hamilton does, sort of looking at it, it does look a little smaller, even though they're 40. I expect that is because the sort of the bezel on the Seiko is sort of somehow is a little beefier, and maybe I think the face of it is larger. It does look bigger, even though they're both 40 millimeters. Okay, something I want to mention about these is the crystal. The Hamilton is a sapphire crystal front and back, while the Seiko is a hardlex. So what does that mean? And right away, some people are like, I need sapphire. Well, they both have their advantages and disadvantages. Yes, the sapphire is the most scratch resistant surface, the most scratch resistant crystal that we have. Theoretically though, if you do hit it hard enough, it can shatter. The hardlex on the other side, while it can scratch a little more, it is less likely to shatter. If you hit it really hard, it could potentially crack, but it won't shatter like the sapphire. If it's going to shatter, it's going to shatter into a lot of little pieces, while the hardlex is going to just crack. The other advantages of the hardlex, if you do end up scratching the sapphire, there's really nothing you can do. You're going to have to replace the crystal completely. On the hardlex, you can polish it out. So if you do get scratches on it, they can be really polished out and taken out. Which one do you prefer? It really is a preference. I kind of prefer the sapphire. I think there's also a bit of a status for sapphire. I mean, there's a reason why really high-end watches will have sapphire for the most part. So I would give it to the sapphire, but again, this is completely your kind of a preference. If you do want that advantage of polishing out some of the scratches, then maybe the hardlex is for you. So let's discuss our crown movement. Like I said, we do have a crown guard on the Hamilton, not on the Seiko. We got our standard 2 pullouts. It is manual winding. It is hackable. So with it pushed completely in is where we have our winding. You do 2 pullouts for our time. A couple of things I look at where it comes to the crown is, first of all, lag on our setting. Just a little bit of lag. The other thing is, because this is hackable, and of course hackable means that when you pull out the crown, the seconds stop, so you can get an absolute accurate setting, is when you push the crown back in, do any of the hands jump? You'll notice on some of the less expensive watches and less quality watches, you sort of get hacking, but then when you push the crown in, one of the hands jumps, and that really defeats the purpose of hacking. So let's have a look. Yeah, no jump there whatsoever, so we're good. Okay, we push it in once, and we have our date setting that feels solid too. Push it in, no jump. It does feel very good, not sort of mushy. Again, you can feel that lag a little, but it's definitely feels good to do the adjustment. Let's have a look at the Seiko. Same deal here. It's hackable, hand winding. So if we in position, it is hand winding. Let's pull it out twice. We got our setting. I'd say far less lag on this, maybe half as much as on the Hamilton. I like that. So we got a little bit. There's a little bit there. Still, I think a little less than on the Hamilton, but it still has our lag. Let's have a look at our jump. Interesting. It went back a couple of seconds before it went forward. Let's have a look again. So I'm going to. Yeah, it definitely goes back a second. This time it did it for about a second, then it went back. Let's try that again. I'm going to just make an adjustment. Yeah, it seemed to have. The second hand is taken, took half a second back and then forward. That'll definitely affect your precision if you are trying to get a very precise time setting. It did it far less there, although it did sort of wait. It didn't jump back, but really waited before it moved forward. Interesting there. Okay, our date adjustment doesn't feel as good as on the Hamilton. There's sort of less of a click, so it's a little more mushy. Let's do the second thing. Now we got the second on the 12. So again, this is how you would do your adjustment. Let's say it is exactly 6 o'clock. Second in, you wait for 6 o'clock to hit. Yeah, it didn't look too bad there, but I think it kind of waits. Let's take a closer look. I'm going to zoom in and see if we can see that. All right, so let's have a look. It wasn't too bad. Have a look for yourself and you be the judge. It's not too bad. I think it does wait, maybe half a second, but I did see some initial jump backs when I first did it. Okay, so let's have a look at our straps here. They're both lever straps, calf. The Hamilton does have a really nice look to it, sort of this dark brown really goes with the white and silver dial. It kind of has this alligator look to it. It's not alligator though. If it was, it would have been advertised as such. You got your standard clasp here. I really like these fold-over clasps. Now we'll get to this in a minute. This does have the fold-over clasp. I really like the fold-over clasp on leather straps because you don't get that wear. As you use this, you are going to, if you take it in and out, you're going to have wear in where you put the hole as well as where the fold over is. So you are going to have some wear, even though this is a high quality strap. Very nice look to it though. The Seiko, they do get criticized a lot for this strap, and now I see why. It is this sort of shiny shoe polish look, if I can put it that way. It does look like shoes that you may wear with a tuxedo, sort of polished, kind of shiny black. You got this sort of dark blue stitching here, which kind of really blends in with the black. Don't like it at all. Also doesn't feel as good to the hand on either side. The Hamilton feels a lot better. Our advantage again is this fold over clasp. It is that's something I absolutely love with watches. Let me show you how that works. Let's take this off. Right, so it's this fold over clasp. Now the way this works is you put it in, you adjust, you find the right hole, and you have it that way. So let me take my watch off here. And then the way this works then is if you put it on, you just sort of, that's a little tight for me. Let's make it a little bigger just for display purposes. You put that on. So it just clicks like that. This particular model still has our these to hold that in, and so you have the appearance of a regular clasp, but it's not. Some of the other ones I've seen actually has a slightly different design, where you have this more complete. I mean, right now this kind of looks like it's broken here, right? It kind of looks like something's missing, but some of the other designs I've seen actually have the rest of this complete. And when you take it off, you have that, and again you can just do it like that so that you don't you're not constantly taking it in and out. You know, hard to say which one is better here. I mean, for the look of the strap itself, I definitely think that the Hamilton wins. This is a very high quality strap. I really dislike this. However, the fact that we do have this this fold over clasp here is a huge plus. I really like this. So again, a preference thing. I think because of the look, and that's what most people will see, I'm going to give it to the Hamilton, and because it is a much nicer look. I really don't like this this shoe polished look. So maybe what I'll do is zoom in a little more. We'll take a closer look, maybe do some wrist shots, and see how it looks. So if we look at it up close, really nice dial, I think. Very elegant, I'd say. It has just the right amount of elegance and sort of pizzazz. We got Arabic numbers on 12, 6, and 9. At 3 o'clock we have the date complication with a nice frame around it. I like the fact that it's not a perfect square. That gives it just that little bit more of a pizzazz. Applied numbers and indicators, of course. Our chapter ring is slightly raised than the rest of the dial. Does give it a very elegant face, and I think the case really matches. We have an H there on the crown, not overly too big. I think it's just right. Here we have our sapphire in the back, with a view of this ETA movement. Like I said, it does have our Hamilton writing on it, and it's dressed up just enough. I think it's not the prettiest of movements. However, you know, in a watch of around $400, you can't expect really too much. I think it's still for the price. They've done a really great job on the look and the and the visibility into the movement. You got your sort of light leather on the inside. If you have a look at the strap, again, it's really nice. I think it does feel pretty nice in the hand. Let's another look at the movement. Okay, let's do a wrist shot. See how it looks on the wrist. Just so you know, I have a 7-inch wrist, so the 40 millimeter I think is just right. If you look at the thickness of it, I think it's a really good size for this size of wrist. So here we have the Seiko. Its claim to fame really is the dial. It's the silver, but the way it's designed, depending on how you look at it at different angles, the dial almost looks blue. There you have a little bit because of these ridges it has on the dial. It gives off kind of like this blue look. I haven't seen too much of it. You probably need some more natural light. Under these artificial lights here, it doesn't look. You can't really find it as much. We have a S on the crown, maybe a little less raised. I think it's engraved. Here's our rear, and you can tell here the movement compared to the Hamilton. I think the Hamilton looks a little better. You have Seiko written in while it's really engraved in the Hamilton, as well as I think that the ETA movement in the Hamilton looks better. Feels smaller in this, and just sort of to compare the two. Interesting that it's the both 40 millimeter watches. From the rear, the Hamilton feels bulkier. I think that just looking at it side by side like this, I think the windows are the same size. We have our strap. Again, like I said, it definitely not as nice as the Hamilton. So let's do a wrist check, a wrist shot. It does actually look really nice on the hand. I must admit, it looks far better on the hand than it does. It looks far better on the wrist than it does in your hand. It definitely has a stylish look to it. Again, it is thicker, definitely noticeable. But I do like the way it looks. Definitely far more stylish than you think. I still think this is backwards. I don't know whether mine just came like that or what, but I mean, this should be here. I mean, this is wrong. I just definitely not how it should be. But overall, not bad. Not a bad look on the wrist at all. It's it's shinier, if I can put that. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for out of a watch, but it does It does look shinier. It's not. It's again, far nicer on the wrist than in the hand. So, what is our verdict? Comparing, I have to give it to the Hamilton. Several reasons. The higher beats per second on the movement. Yes, the Seiko has 50 hour power reserve. Depends on what you like. The 40 is fine for me. The dial, like I said, the Seiko does look better on the wrist than it does off the wrist, but still. Still this is just so classy. It just very classy look on this watch. Strap far better on the Hamilton. Like again, I'm a huge fan of this overclasp. But just absolutely huge. I love this. However, this sort of shoe polish, shoe shine kind of a strap, just horrible look. It looks absolutely horrible. I can't say enough how bad it looks, and it's so unfortunate. I mean, I think if they did a better job on the strap, the sort of the value of this watch would just shoot up so much. It has the clasp, and they just a poor choice on that. From the rear, again, Hamilton wins. I think the movement on the inside is far better. Just the look of the rear is far better. I like the crown guard there. So overall, if you had to pick just one, I think the Hamilton wins out. I really love the Swiss heritage. I mean, this used to be an American brand. It moved to Switzerland. Great heritage on this, and while the heritage on the Seiko is there too, I think Hamilton wins on that. So in my mind, the Hamilton wins on all accounts. Really, it's the hands down winner is in my opinion. Again, horology is one of those things where it's so much of it is what you want out of your watch, and I think I like this. Very versatile. Now this watch, what can it be better at? I think if you think of it as a cocktail time watch, which is what the name is, it does look nice on the wrist, so it definitely will draw attention. You take it out in the evening, it will draw attention, and it will become a conversation piece. But I think the Hamilton, a little more subtle, a little more classy. I think more versatile. If you own both, then you take this one during the day and maybe this one in the evening. That's what I would do. But if you had to pick one, I think the Hamilton's the winner. Any questions or comments or suggestions? Please let me know. I'd love to hear what you think, which one you prefer, and hopefully this review was useful to you. And we'll see you next time on another video. Thanks. Happy shopping.